If 2024 was the party, 2025 was the hangover, and 2026 is the Monday where we get back to work. From a consumer level, from a marketing level, from a shiny objects level, it's the year everything settles. Things are higher priced now, but they are less weird and different than they have been in the past. You can count on more consistency, and so we're going to talk about the plan to do that. Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm here with Caleb. What are you doing for Christmas, AG?
Hey, Christmas, we do 2 Christmases. One with my family on Christmas Eve, and then with, I say my family, the AGs, the extended family.
Yeah.
Brothers, sister, cousins, stuff like that. And then on Christmas Day, we have our own little one at home, and then we go to the in-laws' house. So
beautiful.
It's a good time.
We are also a 2 Christmas household, 25th, 26th. And I'm looking forward to it this year. We've got some really, we're doing smaller Christmas for the kids. But
truly is the most wonderful time of the year.
It really is, yes. So speaking of Christmas, there is a gift in the coming year for you, and that is the gift of a little bit of normalcy. There are some things leveling out as we see them, but there are also some things that are staying sort of tough. And today we're going to talk about nuances in your 2026 marketing budget, because this is the place where we answer real life marketing questions, stuff that's happening right on the front lines. We see it. We're playing with millions of dollars every single month in marketing, and we're bringing you the stuff like that's working and what's not working. We are just like ruthless eliminators of waste. So we're trying to help you maximize your marketing budget. If this is the first time you're here, we are not the shiny object guys. We are not the the hype. We are not the always be changing everything. We are the eliminate stuff that is going to keep you from the big idea, which is growth and holistic business, which we call the big dream.
Yeah.
Which is we want to see you, your family, your team's family. We want to see you have that beautiful life harmony. I don't believe there's such thing as a work-life balance. I think there's work-life harmony. And that's the big dream for us. It's helping you get more with less and all of the things business. And right now that is marketing, because that is what's staring us all in the face.
That's right.
We are at the end of a giant annual planning season. We have taken no less than 100 pitches. We have negotiated millions and millions of dollars worth of media. So we have a fresh perspective about what's out there, what you might be seeing. And this is in addition to last year's episode, which was 3 episodes. We did a 3-part strategy, message, and media, how to make your marketing plan. That is largely still in play. Like there's nothing in those episodes that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But in interest of being additive, we're just going to link to those. Nate is going to pop up the strategy, message, and media for building your marketing campaign, which we did last year. And we're going to give a few nuances for 2026, some things you want to add on top of that.
Yeah, we're kind of marrying this with what 2026 is looking like. We're studying the economy outlook and things that we're seeing. And so that really it should affect in some ways. You are a steady marketer, and that's what Brandon was alluding to. We want to make sure we're steady, we're consistent, and the big things, they don't change. But the nuances and how we have to work with the market. This is how the economy works. We have to have viable products that speak to viable consumers. And so consumers this next year, they're going to be buying, but they're going to be more value scrutinizing. The prices have gone up and they're not going to go down. That's the reality of it. And so,
but it's less inflation driven. It's just more, this is
just how it is now.
Pricing floor, if you will.
Yeah, so they're adjusting their budgets to account for, because all of 25, they were like, whoa, what's going on? Groceries and all these things are more expensive than I am used to them being. 26, all of that kind of levels out. It didn't go down. It just flattened. But
your interest rates and your big purchases are less scary.
Yeah.
I think people know what they're going to be. So there's a little bit more planning. And we'll just call it sobriety in the decision-making process.
Yeah, so we got to pay attention. Consumers are going to be value scrutinizing, more risk aware, and then they'll be less tolerant of friction and ambiguity. We're going to talk about that a lot later.
So there's 4 sections. One is how much should your business be spending on marketing? We're going to give you some ranges for your industry and for your maturity cycle as businesses. The second is going to be nuances and strategy, how you need to position yourself in 2026 versus years past. The third is going to be nuances and messaging, things you need to be doing differently with your ads and your copy themselves. And then some slight nuances in media and how you might select to spend that money.
Yeah.
By the end of that, you're going to pair that with last year's how to make a marketing plan, or maybe your very own copy of the Maven Marketer.
Hey.
You just build your marketing plan over Christmas break, reading your 248 pages of marketing
Gold.
Genius. It's really
Marketing genius.
Who wrote that?
Who wrote that book?
So, hey, you know what? First person to make a comment about something you're changing your 2026 marketing is going to get a copy of the Maven Marketer, thanks to Nate, the camera guy.
I love it.
He's going to personally deliver it to you and write up a note of
we're going to just ship a
joy.
Nate in a box. And
Nate in a box.
He'll just pop out and hand
yes,
it to
he
you.
will. All right, let's jump in. We got 4 sections to cover. So, how much should your business be spending on marketing? Man, this is a loaded question, and every person who gets asked that in our industry goes, well, it depends. And I don't want to be the well, it depends guy. So we're just going to answer it as asked. The average business in America is spending 7 to 8% on marketing annually as a percentage of annual revenue. Now, some of you just went, is that all? And some of you went, holy crap, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to break that down here in a second. But where did that come from, Caleb?
Yeah, so that was Gartner CMO spend survey said 7.7%. That's an average based on U.S. marketing spend. And then the SBA said 7 to 8% on any roundabouts or near 5 million pursuing growth is how they framed that.
Yeah. So this is going to nuance by industry, not because the actual marketing spend probably should nuance like what it takes to make stuff happen, but because margins are different in every industry.
That's right.
And like when you're doing this as a reflection of top line revenue, there's things that change when you're an HVAC company, for example, and a lot of your top line revenue is tied up in cost of goods sold versus maybe an attorney who has a labor base, which is just tied up in expertise and maybe people. So we're going to go line by line with that. But I want to just reset. If you are the person, or if you are working for a person, or if you have to report to the person who's going, yeah, but if we spend 7.7% of our budget, how do we know it's working? We're going to get there, okay? The big idea is that companies that become well-known, well-liked, and well-trusted before the sale, they win in the advertising and marketing game, and they win in the growth game. There's a very, very large study called The Long and the Short of It, done by Les Bennett and Peter Field. They are data scientists and the smartest dudes in advertising of our time. They took a scientific approach, studied billions of dollars worth of advertising over a long period of time, and they came out with a grand conclusion that if you are well-known, liked, and trusted, from an emotional level, if people like you and believe in you before the sale, you will not see that return on investment this second, but shortly after, a year, 2, 3 years, and then snowballing after that, everything gets easier for you.
Yep.
So that is big, big business stuff, but it also directly applies to your owner-operated business. And
right.
Les in that study was famous for saying, if brands are built over years, we all know it takes a while to build a brand. Like Nike didn't become Nike, or Apple didn't become Apple, or any of these big brands we love. If it takes years to do that, why are we managing them in quarters? And so we're suggesting with all of this, as we do all the time, and what we've proven over 15 years now, and we have guys and gals becoming multi-millionaires on this system. So if you want that to be true for your business, that's the foundation.
Yeah.
And so
we're going to quickly go through just some benchmarks of marketing spend for different industries. And hopefully you fall into one of these. If not, you could probably find
triangulate.
Yeah, you could find some relatable industries. And we're just going to go through these, and then we're going to talk about how this changes in your given situation. Service
Titan in the HVAC industry says 5 to 10% of revenue. HVAC benchmarks commonly cite 7% of top line revenue. So professional services, think consulting, think agencies, think a lot of B2B, 10 to 12 because it's assumed that there's higher margin in the product itself.
Yeah.
But also top line revenues tend to be lower in those industries. So it's going to be a bigger percentage.
That's right. Law firms, 5 to 15%, similar to that agency setup, maybe And then medical clinics, 1 to 5%. That would be independent medical clinics.
The Medical Group Management Association says 1 to 5%. There's sometimes a lot of retail tied up in there, but there's also a lot of overhead in medical practices. So that's why you can sort of get away with that. And they tend to be on the more commoditized scale. People know what they need, so you're just trying to be the one on the list that people select. So
that's right.
Go ahead. Dental offices.
Dental offices, 4 to 7%. That's from Dental Economics.
Yep.
Vision and optometry practices, again, 1 to 5. That's similar to that medical clinic.
We work with one of the most prominent leaders in that space, and they commonly cite in their organization like 2 to 3%. So, auto repair shops are 4 to 5%. Same thing. A lot of cost of goods sold, a lot of overhead, and then the automotive industry in general. We just got a citation from NADA. The average dealership is spending like $500,000 to $600,000 annually, but there's a lot of nuances.
That's a rough guess there.
Yeah.
The big thing that you need to pay attention to, and this is why it's kind of like a depends answer. Like it depends is usually everybody's answer here. It's because the reality of your marketing budget changes over the lifespan of your business as well.
Yeah.
And so usually the larger you are, the more mature, hopefully you've been planting seeds, you're following the Maven method, the more mature your marketing becomes, the more past customers you have. All of this attributes to, as you grow larger, the percent of marketing usually goes down. So we see a little bit.
Yeah.
In the 1 to 3 million range, it might be 8 to 12, but once you get to 10 or above, we might be in more of the 4 to 8% range.
So now that, depending on this, the biggest depends part of that is how strong is your competition.
Yeah.
Like if you are in a disruptible category, you do not want to be the one reacting to a low marketing spend. You don't want to see what you can get away with for a few years on a low spend, because somebody is going to disrupt you. And it's way more expensive to get that market share back than it is to maintain and defend it. Also, if you are trying to disrupt somebody else, if you are trying to steal market share, you're going to have to outspend them in message quality and in probably marketing and ad budget.
Yeah. So that's the key, is also how much do you want to grow? How aggressive are you being next year? And that would definitely change the answer that we would have. You could easily be a 10 plus million company and need to spend 12%. No problem. If you're in a market and you want to grow, big market, maybe big dollars because of what you're selling, no problem.
Yep. So if you think of this as driving a nail into a board, the amount of swings you take is your advertising budget, but the size of your hammer is the quality of your message. So if you've got a big hammer, you can get away with a smaller marketing budget, but it has to be more remarkable and it has to be true. And that's what we're going to talk about in the messaging section. So last thing I want to say on budgeting. So there's what you should be spending as an overall percentage, and then there's how you allocate it. That study I cited a minute ago, the long and the short of it, by far the biggest study that's ever been done on advertising, they pulled out that the most reliably growing companies who were able to charge more, protect margin, get a bigger percentage of the market over the long haul, and not be disruptible, the ones that are the strongest types of companies that we all want to be, are spending at least 60% of their budget on emotional branding, making people like them, feel good about them, believe in them, trust them, align with them before the opportunity to buy from them comes around. So if you are a home service company, it's going to be 5 to 10 years before the average person needs you. If you are a professional service company, it may be 10 to 20 years. If you are in a category like roofing or really big, or we say roofing or caskets, it could be 30 to 50 to 80 years before somebody needs you. And so that's why at the finish line, those searches, those doing search engine marketing and like lead generation is really expensive. But when people are coming to you without going through those other methods of advertising, you get them faster, they spend more. And so that's why we want you spending 60% of your budget, and any good marketing plan at least is going to tomorrow marketing. Yeah. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, just to make sure we're clear, if this is your first time hearing about the Maven method, this is probably one of the key facets of the Maven method that helps to clear up marketing for everybody who hears it, because I think a lot of times we have lots of different marketing motivations. So a tomorrow customer is somebody who will need what you're selling, but they don't need it right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to build a relationship with them for the long haul. A today customer is somebody who actually woke
They're
up
on the loose.
this morning or this week and they said, I need that thing. I need that
Fridge
service.
is warm, so I need a fridge. My
Yep.
tire's popped, so I need a tire. Right?
Yesterday marketing is somebody who has bought from you in the past or connected with you in the past, and it is your job to stay in connection with them so that they can become repeat business with you or a referral partner.
Yes. So we're recommending for basically anybody we work with a 60-30-10 focus. 60 on tomorrow marketing, that's emotional branding, making people like you, know your personality, know your brand, know what you stand for. Entertainment, earning attention before the sale. Today marketing goes 30%, which is like, hey, we have an offer. You should buy today. It's a really good time to buy. Here's a package deal. Here's a whatever like reason to buy. That's activating all that goodwill you built. And then we say as much as 10% on yesterday marketing because a company who has past customers is has the biggest opportunity and the most efficient marketing when they focus on yesterday marketing.
Usually the lowest dollar cost of all there.
Biggest return for the least amount of money. So if you're a brand new company, you're not going to have probably enough to spend on yesterday marketing. But if you're established, we have some companies that have been around 50, 60 years, like spending a tremendous amount of time in the messaging and email marketing and text messaging and customer appreciation events. Like that's way cheaper than advertising for new customers. So we put 10% of the budget there. So long-term brand building is the key to firmer pricing. If you want to be able to charge more and be selected by the premium buyers, long-term branding is your friend.
I'm going to advocate that if you haven't increased your prices through all this mess of 24 and 25 and settling into 26, you probably need to. And so this is the way you can do those kinds of adjustments with confidence.
Yeah.
You know people are willing to.
You cannot be the strongest brand in your category by being the low-price provider.
No.
So that's section one. That's budgeting. It's going to look like 5 to 10% for most businesses, and you want a 60% of that overall spend in tomorrow marketing, 30% in today, and then as much as 10% on today marketing. So section 2.
That 10% was yesterday.
Sorry, I misspoke?
You said today again.
60 tomorrow, 60 tomorrow, 30 today, 10 yesterday. All right. We're going to go on to 2026 nuances for your strategy. Caleb mentioned this a little bit early in the episode. Strategy really shouldn't change year to year, like a whole bunch, unless you are just reinventing yourself or you've been disrupted. And we've said for a long time that companies who position themselves on tomorrow-based strategy, being the long-term provider, the most trusted, the most liked, that has relationships, commitment, and quality to a future outcome for their population, those are the ones that win the best. And we tend to focus on a lot of that with our campaigns. The nuance in 2026 is that even the high-quality premium buyers are getting pinched in the purse a little bit.
Yeah.
So value hunting is going to become a thing.
Yeah.
Not becoming a thing. It is a thing, and it's just a thing for more people than it used to be.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I think how you define those values in the message section, but that will be a big piece because it's not a collapsed economy. It'll be more of a steady economy, but it's just a more expensive economy. Yeah. So they will be value scrutinizing.
So even if you're a company that's just kind of like the well-known go-to person, you need to be putting more clear pricing, like as low as or starting at.
Yeah.
Or this many of what you do for this price, or buy an HVAC unit for $29.95, or get a garage floor for $36.32. Just like some clear pricing, because people aren't unable to spend money. They're just aware that it goes less far than it did before. And so you just need to give them like clarity on what they're going to be able to get and what category of their budget they can start assigning you to.
And I think the bigger thing is the things you don't understand, or the things you can't fully wrap your mind around, are the things that are scarier.
Yeah.
That's how any horror film is made. It's by not showing all of the picture. And so you, as the business owner, have to show them the full picture. You have to not hide it in the shadows and say, well, the price that'll show up when I come to your door and talk to you and give you a high pressure pitch. That's not the reality. When you take that out of the shadows, it becomes much less scary because they can see, okay, that's more than I have right now, but I think I could save up for that.
Yeah. You need to train your salespeople for the very first thing that comes out of their mouth when somebody says, how much is that going to set me back? To say, starting at $5,200 or between $5,000 and $8,000.
Yep.
Not, well, we got to get a custom quote. Let us come out and set an appointment.
It depends.
Yeah, you do not want that, especially in this economy. I would argue that's been a bad idea, or it's been a bad idea for a long time to hide your pricing. But in the age of AI, which is another nuance we should add, the customer is going to know way more than they've ever known when you show up to their door.
If you don't have the answer, they actually already do. They're just checking to make sure your answer aligns with the one they already had in the back of their mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, value clarity, and it does not mean discounting. I do not want you to start thinking you have to be a discount provider. That is death. You have to hold margin, and you can't be overly sensitive to, trying to get more quantity than quality. Like, don't shift that balance, but just message it a little clearer.
Yeah. So make the pricing so easy for them. That is the key in all of this. Instead of taking them on a journey and chasing discount percentages and things like that. I'm not saying those things are dead, but it feels to the consumer, who is going to be a much more steady, level-headed consumer this next year, they don't want to play the games. They just want you to tell them like it is.
I promise you, if you start putting this on your website, you will be the one that wins. Good, better, best packages with prices attached to them. Faster scheduling or priority service. Here's how long it's going to take. You order today, you're going to have it installed in 21 days. Clear financing options.
Yeah.
$32.95 or $40 a month.
Yep.
Again, this can feel a little foreign to some of you that are just like good old-fashioned service, and I want you to stay there in attitude and heart. I just want you to not get kicked off the list because somebody's being more clear on pricing than you are.
Yep.
And value altogether. So that was section 2. That's a nuance in your strategy. Slightly nuanced also should be your message, which is section 3. We're going to attach a little bit more clarity to our offers and our pricing, just like we talked about with strategy. But just as in the same way that money is tight, attention is tight.
Yes. More expensive than money, I think.
It's a TikTok world, and we have TikTok attention spans, and that's not like brand new in 2026, but it's costing you more and more to not be remarkable and entertaining and get straight to the point. We've known for a long time that users decide within seconds how they feel and if they're going to stay on your ad. It's the recent stat I saw was 0.4 seconds is the average scroll time on a phone.
Yeah.
So you're in or out within half a second.
Less than half of a second.
Less than half a second.
Wow.
So attention is not given, it is earned, and you have to earn it. And you have to earn it by, my favorite quote on writing is, how do you write bestsellers? It's easy. You just leave out the parts that people skip. Leave out the parts that people skip in your advertising. And you're going to do that by dropping them off in the middle of the topic instead of saying, today we're going to talk about yada, 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 and yada, yada, yada. And then I'm going to line out how to do this, right?
Yeah.
That's why we did a cold open today in our podcast.
Yep.
Like we jumped right into something. So that is the number one shift in messaging, is just always shorter, entertaining. Find yourself a writer. If you are not funny, or if you don't have a vision or a voice for your marketing, it is worth the money to pay somebody who does.
Yeah. And I think you have to we talk about using specifics, lead early. And like he said, drop them off right in the middle of everything. That makes
with
good
the payoff or the problem.
Yeah, that makes good entertainment. When you land here and you're like, what are they talking about? And your brain actually is activated. That's what earns attention, is actually when you engage, you give somebody something that's not just, numb for their brain. It's actually causes their brain, the synapses are firing because they're like, oh, what is this guy talking about? Or what is this gal talking about? What's going on? And you're solving this problem with them, and then they get to the solution. They're like, okay, that's great.
Yes, tension. Tension is your friend. So on top of that, so just be faster, better, more entertaining. Design your videos for sound off.
Yes.
Devices just default to sound off, so you need to make them interesting and understandable with the sound off. With that, you want to put captions on virtually everything.
Hey, can we talk about the fact that we have to tip the phones the other way now again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like I feel like an old marketer now? Because we had to teach everybody like 5 or 10 years ago. We're like, hey, don't hold your phone up and down, for YouTube and all the others.
Yeah.
We want to make sure you
you
turn
wanna
it
go horizontal
so it looks like a movie, right? And now it's the opposite. We're saying make it vertical, make it short form. This TikTok style reels, YouTube shorts, whatever. We actually talked about this a few weeks ago, but this should be a very real part of your marketing and media plan. I hate media mix. That's not the right word.
No.
Yuck. But I said it. So it needs to be a part of your media plan next year. That short form engagement, if you follow all these
vertical
videos,
videos,
the vertical videos, those don't have to be that hard, but they can be a lot of fun. I'd advocate that you can have fun while you make them and have a good day at work and also entertain some people.
Yep.
And then I just talked to somebody this week. She has a travel agency and accidentally, blew up on Instagram. Wasn't planning on it,
Wow.
but it happens sometimes, and her business is going to be impacted because that happened.
Go watch our episode from a few episodes back on short form video. It is currently, at the time of this episode, being subsidized by YouTube and Facebook, meaning they are giving more attention on purpose, like by a lot, to short form reel style videos because they're trying to steal market share back from TikTok. So you want to take advantage of that from a media perspective, but also messaging and just your mentality of how you produce messages. You don't have to stop and give the details. Most of you are probably listening to this podcast on 1.5 speed. Make your stuff so tight that it doesn't have to be sped up to 1.5. Make your short form videos that tight, like to where I would get the idea in 10 seconds because you can do it shorter than you have been. So take your traditional 30 to 60 second ads and turn them into 6 to 10 second assets. Embrace the rough cut off your own words, jump from shot to shot, do a hook within the first 2 seconds of a video, prove your process and give a very clear next step and link to the longer form. Say link below for more information or for the next step of what you're talking about. So that's messaging tighter, use short form video, and definitely clarify process and pricing while you're doing all of that. We've made it to section 4.
We made it.
Here we are.
Media.
Okay. For as long as we've been doing this podcast and as long as we've had this agency, it's been still appropriate and accurate by every verifiable market researcher that broadcast is by far the most efficient way to deliver a message intrusively. If you want people to actually hear and see and feel your brand, as we're trying to do with that 60% of our 60% of our budget that is in tomorrow marketing. So that 60% we spend, almost always, if you're a local business, the best place to spend that has been broadcast, especially if your customer is older than 35, 40 years old.
Yeah. Broadcast meaning broadcast television and radio.
Yes. And typically within that, there's nuances, but typically we're talking about local stations like local radio, local NBC, ABC, Fox affiliates. Okay. And the way to do that has been to place yourself in the programs that those people watch over and over every day, because the average television program is tens of thousands of people. And unless you've served all 10,000 or 50,000 in most cases, or in the buy I just did this morning, it was 80,000 people per program. Like, you're way better off to just keep dripping on them and wait for when they need you than you are to try to go spin up some of their new audience. That's just every advertising science and study, and like my own personal experience after hundreds of millions of dollars doing this would confirm that. Okay.
Yes.
That is still true, especially if your core audience or the person who is most likely to buy from you or the person that you otherwise want to be famous with is 40 years or older. Okay. I've said for a long time, there will be a time when digital media gets as efficient or there will be a reasonable time to split that budget out. We are not full blown in there, and I'm not saying everybody should do this, but we are entering the time where the millennial buyer actually is starting to get some significant spending power.
Mm-hmm.
Before, and we're still here, but the problem before has been that those are non-homeowners, non-family, non-traditional family, and like strapped with student debt and just didn't have a whole lot of spending power. But we're entering the shift where that's changing. And so Caleb and I now are replacing our HVACs and things like that, unfortunately, right? All the fun stuff.
Unfortunately.
And so if you were in this like grown-up category of service, which most of the people we serve are, you're going to want to start thinking about this. In the last few years, we've been incorporating more YouTube. The thing that gets pitched in this like reach the other demo is a lot of the time is OTT and streaming. And everybody thinks, wow, I watch Hulu. I bet that's where all the customers are. And you know what? There's lots of people that watch Hulu. There's lots of people that watch
there are customers
Roku and
no
Samsung TV. And I'm saying those things because those are OTT products, not because I think those are the mainstream ones. And then you might even look up, the average person spends 4 hours a day watching Netflix or a streaming service now, and they watch less on broadcast. There is some truth to that. Here's the remaining issue. What does it cost to reach those people?
Mm-hmm.
This is not like a secret, but it is just remarkably expensive to insert your ads on those platforms. And I'm talking Hulu, Netflix. Well, Netflix is not ad supported, but Hulu, Amazon, any of those OTT streaming platforms. You're talking $40 to $60 per 1,000 people reached usually.
Yeah.
Okay, that's high.
Give me comparison. TV. Where's
TV and radio, still to this day, are in the $5 to $15 range, and 15 would be pretty dang high. Most of our campaigns, even in big markets, are like $5 to $10 CPM. Okay, here's the other part of that. Those OTT platforms generally are skippable, and you are not getting the same person over and over and over and over again.
Correct.
It's random in its delivery to that demo. So Caleb, he might watch The Office on Peacock tonight.
Always.
Duh.
That's all I ever watch.
Bears beats
Battlestar Galactica.
But because the impression was so expensive, and because it's just random in its delivery, it might reach Nate tomorrow night and 3 weeks before Caleb sees it again. And the magic of tomorrow marketing is that you're there every day like a friend, just trusted and snowballing into this, like being their guy or their gal or their company or the one that they instantly prefer to do business with. Okay. So the best solution today, the best combined like CPM plus reaching that lower audience is YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube or Google Video, if you prefer. You do it through the Google Ads platform. But if you deliver on large screen, and also on, good old-fashioned everyday YouTube watching recipe videos and stuff, you will get seen by that demo. And the CPMs are more like 5 to 15.
Real quick, Nate's going to throw up a link to our video on CPMs, the great equalizer. It's the gas mileage of your marketing. I believe
that one's going up
the
now.
Title of that episode.
And then also, we did one on,
and
Nate will also link to this. He's got like 5 videos to link to today.
Yes.
Has YouTube replaced TV?
Yeah.
We just did that one not too long ago. So
that's the key with YouTube. YouTube does still have some of those facets that OTT has, which is skippable ads, some slight randomness or fragmentation in who you're reaching, because you can't say only people that watch this show like we can on television, but you can monitor your frequency at some level. And the other thing that OTT typically hangs their hat on is targeting.
Yeah.
And YouTube has the ability to, especially I would say geographically, target specific areas, parts of town. If you're trying to if you're trying to expand to the south of where you are, YouTube might be a way of doing that. OTT will say, yeah, we can target only the neighborhoods you want to work in and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are going to pay 10 times at least to reach those people that you would on these other medias.
And by definition, you are not trying to target the people who are just buying today, because A, they're extremely hard to actually target unless you're on a search engine, and B, that doesn't do you any favors long term. It's too expensive to do it that way. You would way rather, like, the equity and the awareness inside a person's brain is way cheaper than buying the stupid click at the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means for you, if you are, let's just say you're a $3 to $5 million service business, and you've been spending $100,000 a year on TV and radio because you've listened to the Maven Marketer, and that's working really well for you. And you're going, you know what? I grew 20% last year. I'm going to add 20% to my budget. So you got another $20,000 to spend. I would increase some frequency and fill out my programs. So just so you know, if you're on TV, we want you buying a minimum of 3 spots in a program per week before you add another. So we start with a lot of morning, midday news type products. Be there at least 3 times a week, probably go up to 4 or 5 times a week before you add another program. Let's say you're buying 2 solid news programs. Let's just say it's noon news and 6 p.m. news. And you're like, I'm in those. What should I do with my next $20,000 in budget? I might take off a couple of grand a month and throw it into a local YouTube campaign if I have millennials and if I have a good assumption that part of my business is being underserved, and I would run them as in-stream skippable ads, and I would make sure my creative has a very, very solid hook in the first 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah. And
this is where things like jingles or really magnetic personalities work so well. We have a client that, gets a gazillion kids singing his jingle in the backseat of the car, and it's translated into unreal business growth for him, like triple in the last few years.
Crazy.
So that little earworm, that thing that makes you memorable, less about your offer and like your long form thing. It's like these are like blips, right? When you're doing on YouTube, that's the weakness of YouTube because it's seldom a full 30-second ad.
Yeah, and then I think you apply mostly with YouTube. Our mentality is you apply some basic targeting, but the rule with any digital media is that the more targeting you add to it, the more expensive it will get. Our goal is not to reach the right people at the right time. It is to reach the largest audience we can afford, daily. And so our goal is to stay in their lives as often as we can. So we keep the geography tight, but we don't typically put too many other parameters around our YouTube campaigns because we want everyone. And if Brandon's not a buyer, that's okay. Nate might be. And if Brandon feels comfortable and he has a relationship with your company, he'll tell Nate about it.
Yep. The thing I would say about YouTube is make your geographic window tighter at lower budgets.
Yes.
So that $2 to $3,000 range, we're keeping that in a 10 to 15 mile radius and a DMA that's got 1 million people in it. This is a little bit try and see, but you want that to level out to where you're getting 4 or 5 frequency per viewer per month. So you don't want to go too big with your audience there. You want to tighten it sort of on purpose. And just like TV, if you want to go wider, you're going to have to add more money. Sorry, if you want to add more audience, I should say you're going to have to add more money.
So that's really big on your tomorrow marketing. We think you should 100% consider broadcast, and then you should consider YouTube. I would say also in the inverse, if maybe you haven't had the budget to swing at broadcast, YouTube can be a stair step on your way there as well.
It's not as good yet.
It's not as good, but it could be a way of building a budget or a tomorrow marketing plan when you have a lower budget.
So if you can afford it, probably TV, radio if you're in a tighter geographic area, like just saying no budget constraints allowed.
And you have an amazing ad writer.
And definitely get a copy of the Maven Marketer and look at our formulas for how we buy TV in every market. We don't have time to go over that today. Big idea is that you fill one up. Do not let a rep sell you multiple programs thinking you're everywhere. Do a very boring schedule. One station at a time until you have enough. So you're buying 30 to 40 radio spots a week, or one TV program at a time, minimum 3 spots a week.
And make sure you're actually buying TV programming.
Yeah, don't buy an ROS. Rotators, don't do that.
Billboards, there's all kinds of things that will be on there. It needs to be, I bought the noon news.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just our big PSA there. The quick things, let's cover real quick today marketing medias that would be common.
So, back up half step just real quick. You're spending 60% of your overall budget on tomorrow marketing. Probably 90% of that 60% is going in TV or radio for just about any campaign here if you're a local business. Okay. That extra 5 to 10% you might be putting on YouTube and a little bit of Facebook Meta in the same way you're doing YouTube. Just that video delivery
reach one
for Yeah, for your 30 to 40 something audience. Okay. Today marketing, we're spending 30% of our overall number on that. I would say 90% of that for us is going to search engines.
Yep.
Especially if you're a service business. Retail, you would put a little bit more of that in Meta, but let's just say I'm spending 30 to 40 grand a year on today marketing, like offers. I'm probably putting, 35,000 of that into search. Okay. If my overall budget's 100 grand.
A couple of ways that just one, I want to make sure when he says search, we mean in Google, that would be Google search ads. So make sure you're not running random Performance Max campaigns or things like that. This is search ads, which is the outcome you expect from running in Google search.
I'm just going to say you cannot afford to keep up with that yourself.
No,
like
it's hard.
There was a time where you could probably get away with doing a lot of your own search. It is so complex, even for our people who do it times gazillions of dollars every day. Like there is always something changing. Just find you a nerd who will speak clearly to you about your cost per acquisition of a customer and then handle the search side of that. There's a video we have. It's actually the main video on our page now, how to hire a marketing nerd, or click here before you hire a marketing nerd. You should watch that so you know the good questions to ask. But when it comes to search engine marketing, probably just don't try to do it on your own.
Something you could do on your own mostly would be Google guaranteed or local services ads. We have mixed results depending on your industry.
Yeah.
And then
that would be within that search engine budget. But
we've also seen some success in social media ads, specifically for lead generation. So remember, we're talking about today customers. We're talking targeting people who are buying today. Those people are maybe just a step before needing to buy today. But if you create a compelling ad and call to action, and then inside of Meta specifically, there's lead forms they could fill out, and then that gets emailed to you. Those can generate some opportunities for you as well.
Yes. So you're spending that first 60% on tomorrow, which is basically TV or radio with some YouTube added in. You're spending the rest of your today marketing on that 30% on search engine and some targeted Meta like lead generation ads on Facebook. Also find a nerd to help you with that. The last 10%, you're throwing a couple of really cool events. You are doing really cool birthday and anniversary gifts and paying your team extra money to call your past customers, and you're stoking the flames of your already existing tribe that already loves you and will come back and bring their friends and family. And then other than that, if you're following the principles of the Maven marketer and just being very empathetic to who people are, what their needs, pains, hopes, and fears are, how you can solve that, and what they should do about that, you are going to have the best year possible in 2026. It didn't start going downhill, but the uphill, I think we're looking at just a little bit more predictability.
Less bumps in the road.
Yep. And you want to be clear, you want to be consistent, and you want to be the most easy to do business with company in your category. And that's how you're going to win. Mm-hmm. We are here for you. We are in your corner. We wake up like just unreasonably excited about helping owner-operated companies. That is you. We want to help you do more with less. We want you to have a beautiful year with your family and with your team, and just to enjoy your business for the way that you're allowed to enjoy it if you just choose to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Amen?
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, if you have a marketing question, you can email it to us at mavenmonday@frankandmaven.com. Maybe if there's something we talked about today, you'd be curious of a little bit of a deeper answer. We'll respond to that, but oftentimes we'll answer it in a podcast episode, because if it's relevant to you, it might be relevant to more.
Yeah.
So
you might get lucky and we'll feature the question, but I'm gonna give a little Christmas gift here.
Okay. Bring it on.
For the first 3 people that say they want this, Mondays at frankandmaven.com. Maven Monday at frankandmaven.com. We do a mastermind. It's a pretty dang cool group of people.
Yes, it is.
This is where we go deeper. We work out these principles, and Caleb and I, and sometimes the rest of our team, that are literally thousands and thousands of dollars every month to work with if you were to do that directly. We get on and just help the mastermind group, the tribe, solve these problems live. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about this a ton lately because we have some really good people in the group.
Yeah.
But I want to give 3 1-month, like first month free scholarships to somebody. If you're going, I've got this marketing plan, I need some things to change in my business. Let's workshop it together. We'll let you on in the January installment. So that's 2 sessions with the Maven Marketing Mastermind. If you'll just email us and tell us you'd like to take advantage of that. And so, but if you aren't one of the 3 and you want to join, it's pretty simple to join. So you can go to mavenmethodtraining.com and sign up for that.
Yeah.
So that is our gift to you for 3 lucky
Merry
elves.
Christmas.
Yeah, and then we're giving a book for the first person who comments. So yeah.
It's the holiday season.
It's the holiday season. We'll be back here every Monday answering your real-life marketing questions, because marketers who cannot teach you why
are just a fancy lie.
Have a great week.